Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of the I-5 Corridors Traffic Report. Tyson Alger here, joined by Justin Myers. And if you're listening to this right now, I suggest just turn it off because some big news probably is happening right as we're talking right now, Justin, or at least that's how it worked for us last week with Dante Moore announcing his return to the Ducks.
It was 2 hours, I think I counted, maybe even less than 2 hours after we wrapped the pod with a pretty sizable, I think, 20-minute segment in there about what if and would he go and I think this, and then before we even got a chance to wrap it up and put it in a bow and send it out into the universe, let alone for people to hear, the hour Dante goes on SportsCenter and announces he's coming back for another year with Oregon.
I was sitting on my couch over there. I was just beginning to edit our video and the podcast, and my editor had texted me, and she's like, "Hey, like, what's like the drop dead deadline for guys having to declare for the draft?" And I look it up, and I think it was like January 23rd or something like that. I was like, next week. And then I was like, let me double check that. So then I Googled Dante Moore, and the first thing that came up was an Adam Schefter tweet that's like, Dante Moore is joining SportsCenter in 10 minutes. I was like, oh shit, here we go. And here we went. Dante Moore coming back for a junior year. I wrote today on Lookout Eugene Springfield, I did my 10 predictions for the 2026 season, which I prefaced with the fact that, like, by the way, we know nothing. So bookmark this and come back and make fun of me later. But as one of my predictions, I wrote Dylan Raiola is going to win a game for the Ducks. But my lead was there's no quarterback controversy. Like, Dante Moore's the guy. Yeah. He's coming back. Like, this isn't going to be oh boy, like we're really competing in fall camp here. Like, you have the hierarchy, you have the guy coming back. However, as we talked about last week, 16-game season, there's so much football to be played. We saw this year you needed Brock Thomas to come in the Wisconsin game. Like, I'm not predicting Dante Moore to get hurt, but I'm just kind of realistic about how things work. And it's just crazy looking at the depth of that quarterback room now, because I laid it out in my post, but Dante has 20 career starts. Dylan has 22. Dante has a 65% career completion percentage. Dylan has a 69% completion percentage. Dante's thrown, I think, 42 touchdown passes. Dylan has thrown 36. Like, yeah, they're very comparable, experienced guys, and I do think Moore is quite a bit better, but we've just never had an Oregon team going into a season that has like this level of experience at the backup quarterback position, and that even includes the year where Dante sat behind Dylan Gabriel.
So that year, Dante Moore coming in, Dylan Gabriel had what I think maybe the most snaps in college football history. If not, he was
en route to, at least. Yeah.
Yeah. And he had played at Oklahoma the year before, had a pretty successful year. He was the odds-on favorite to win the Heisman. And what Dante Moore had done was play as a true freshman, have those true freshman struggles, and then decided to come to Oregon after Chip left. That's a pretty easy layout, layout, right? I'm with you. I don't believe there's a quarterback controversy, but I don't know if I'm 100%.
Oh,
maybe that's just the chaos in my brain.
You think maybe little week 1 or week 2 new coordinator offense looks a little shaky against Boise State, a Boise State team that barely even won the Mountain West last year, Justin.
That's why I'm saying I don't think it's going to happen. But I'm not, if you were to say 100% certain there will be no controversies in the Oregon quarterback situation, and I'm like, well, I don't know if I believe that.
So let me ask you a question. We are now in an era of college football where 2 losses you can get into the playoff, maybe even 3 if you have just a killer schedule and you've only lost to like the real, like, you know, whatever. Have we seen a 3-loss team in so far?
I don't believe a 3-loss team is made.
But they, like, some have been on the bubble at least. So it's not necessarily you lose 1 game, you're out. You lose 2 games, you're done. So what sort of leash is on a team like Oregon, like the quarterback of a team like Oregon, where it's not like this year where the expectations were like, let's see what these young pups can do. Like, they obviously have a high ceiling, but we don't know what they can do. They made it to the Final Four. Next year with the guys that are coming back, Dante, the entire defensive line, the center, it looks like they're going to be getting Evan Stewart back, DeCorian Moore. They announced they re-signed. That's my favorite thing in college football right now, by the way. The announcements where you re-sign a guy who's already on your team. But yeah, like this is a team that I've already seen in some preseason, like way too early top 25s. Yeah. Is number 1 in some of them. So Like, what sort of wiggle room do you have with a quarterback in an era where you have those expectations, but you can also lose a game?
Well, and I mean, we talked about it, I think, a little bit last time, which is, I think we're to the point with Dan Lanning, like the only thing left is that national championship, right?
Yeah.
That's the only thing left. And he's had arguably 2 years with a realistic chance to go get it, right? Mm-hmm. This year and last year, they had a realistic chance to go get it.
I would say 3 the Washington year, because like all, that whole year, we were saying that Oregon was the better team, even after they lost to Washington that first time, just based on how they were playing against other teams, and they just couldn't figure out Washington. But you put Oregon in that championship game against Michigan, maybe the outcome's a little different. So
in 3 of the 4 years that Dan Lanning's been the head coach at Oregon, he's had a legitimate chance after the regular season of winning the national championship, because if they win that game in Vegas against Washington, which was a 3-point game, they're in the 4-team playoff back then, and obviously we saw Washington play in that title game. So, yeah, like that's what's next. And whether it's fair or unfair, fans are only worried about what's next. Like, fans are like, all right, conference title, we've done that. Conference titles are cute. That's adorable. Have number 1 seed in the tournament. Yeah, that didn't really help Oregon out. Getting to the Final Four, like all that stuff is like, okay, we've done that. That's now expected. It's not fair, but that's how fans think, right? Okay, we're here now. We don't go backwards. We got more money than everybody. We got 2 quarterbacks. We got a quarterback room, maybe allegedly $10 million quarterback room in NIL. We're going to go back and go forward. So national championship, I'm not saying or bust, but that is the expectation.
You know a lot more Oregon fans than I do, and I feel like you know a wider breadth of Oregon fans than I do, because especially during the Chip Kelly years, you kind of had like the wave of new fans fighting against the old fans who were like, boy, we used to just be happy to be in the Rose Bowl or whatever. Is there still a faction of that old Oregon around that like make it to the Orange Bowl this year and they're like, hell yes, Orange Bowl? Like are there still Oregon fans who like they're just in heaven right now in every single one of these games they get to where Oregon's at this stage? Mm-hmm. Like, this is great? Or has just everybody like gotten so much success that they've transitioned into we have to just win a national championship?
I think there are, yes, to answer your question, that is what is left. I don't think there are Oregon fans that are like, hey, I mean, pretty good season, right?
Look at us.
I mean, they only had 2 losses on the year, and it was to the eventual national champion. The year before, had 1 loss on the year. It was only to the eventual national champion. Like, that's not good enough anymore. At some point, Oregon needs to be the eventual national champion.
Like, you think Rich Brooks is sitting around going like, God damn it, like we a 2-loss season, like son of...
I don't think Rich Brooks is, because I think Rich Brooks knows how hard it is to win football games, but I do think...
And Rich is probably on the golf course too. Like,
probably is. But I do think maybe fans who were pumped in 94 as I was to just go to the Rose Bowl and just to see Oregon painted in the end zone was good enough.
Right.
Penn State kicked the hell out of us, but it didn't matter. We got to see that yellow Oregon in the end zone. That's all that mattered. We got to go to Disneyland and see Donald Duck with the duck, right? Like, that's all that mattered. That's over now. It's gone. And I think here are the reasons why. One is it's the only thing left, right? It's the only thing left. Oregon has Heisman trophies, has conference titles in 2 different conferences. They have first-round picks. They have
Heisman winner.
Yeah, they've got everything. Everything. That's the one thing left. Second reason.
Joe Moore Award.
Fair enough. We got to get that one. Second thing is, now that it's a tournament format, I don't think it's the same as in basketball where you're like, hey, Final Four, what a season.
Right.
I just don't think it's... Whereas, like, you should be like, Oregon won the Orange Bowl this year. They beat the number 4 team in the country. Like, that's unbelievable. Problem was, they got their ass kicked 10 days later in the Sugar Bowl. So, like, I don't think the idea of, hey, we won the Orange Bowl, that trophy's going in the trophy case. With the playoff now, you lose that extra little special stuff in college football where, like, yeah, you could have a successful season without winning the national championship. By the way, it wasn't so bad back then either.
So Oregon made the Final Four in this year's tournament.
Yeah.
If this was pre expansion from 4 to 12, and Oregon just makes the makes the playoff,
yeah,
like back, for it had been like the last 10 years where it's like making the playoff was like a big accomplishment. If Oregon loses in the first round of the Final Four in the old format,
yeah,
are you feeling better or worse about the season than you are now, where they win 2 playoff games, but then they ultimately fall in the semifinals as well?
I probably feel a little bit better.
Yeah,
as weird as that is,
because that felt more like that felt like college football's Final Four.
Yes,
even though like it's still 4 and 4 here, but
and no offense, but wins over JMU at home and Texas Tech at a neutral site aren't ones you're good. Like, I don't know if they're going to make the highlight reels.
23-0, Justin.
It was unbelievable.
First shutout since 1734.
It was great, but like
maybe an exaggeration there on the.
But is that one where when we sit here, because come June, we're going to be like, what do we talk about on the pod? And we go like, all right, 10 best Oregon wins of all time. Like, I don't know if that Texas Tech, it should be on that list. I don't know if it makes that list.
Well, and what's the highlight from that game? Like when you're putting it on TikTok or the highlight reels or whatever. Yeah. Like what's the big play from that game?
Probably
Mateo's strip
sack.
Where then he gets tackled by the quarterback.
But still looked cool and yeah.
And like, also, we don't want to be complete prisoners of the moment. 2 or 3 weeks ago, we were talking about how great that was a great win, but like it just, that's what this college football season does now, where there's so many games that you have to win to inevitably win the final one, that good stories can get kind of lost in the mess when you don't reach your ultimate goal.
Kind of going to like the basketball analogy of like making the Final Four, like how great was it? Like when Oregon, I think the year before, when they beat Duke in the Sweet 16 to go to the Elite Eight. Do I have the years right?
Correct.
Yes. Then they got smoked by Oklahoma.
Oklahoma and Buddy Hield.
Yeah, that dude. But that Sweet 16 win was because it was Duke.
Right.
And it was Coach K throwing a little hissy fit and telling Dylan Brooks and wagging the finger.
You're better than that.
And then lied about it afterwards.
All-time press conference.
Yeah. But Oregon beat Duke in the Sweet 16. Oregon beating Texas Tech in the quarterfinals just isn't it.
Right.
And it's not fair or right, but that's the reality. It's there. So I think it's the one thing that's left is a national title. It's a tournament format, which, I mean, at some point you're going to lose, right? Whereas before we talked about that team 3 years ago that lost to Washington, but they got to kick the hell out of Liberty and have Bo Nix's little swan song and maybe kind of manipulate the statistics. So he had the completion percentage record because he did a lot of shovel passes in that game. Neither here nor there. But they got to have that game. And you felt pretty good about that season. Sucked to lose to Washington, but you got that. Imagine if then you had to, after you beat Liberty, you had to go play and then you lose.
Right.
It feels different. The third thing that nobody wants to talk about is there is one Oregon fan that has professed his obsession with getting a national championship.
Justin Myers.
And another who's writing the checks.
Right, yeah.
That I think we all know is not getting younger.
Right.
It's a weird thing. You don't want to. I don't even want to finish my thought, but you get what I'm talking about. That's out there.
Yeah.
That is out there.
The conversation where you start.
But you know what I'm talking about.
You shouldn't be laughing, but
it's my default. When I get uncomfortable, I laugh. It's made for some awkward dinner situations.
It's uncomfortable. And like, again, and that's kind of what I wrote about, and we probably talked about a little bit last week too, as after the Peach Bowl. It's like, looking at Indiana looked like staring at like a 15-year younger clone of yourself. You got Mark Cuban's big head on the sideline doing all those interviews, and boy, he sure wasn't turning down many opportunities to be in front of a camera the last couple days either, too. It's just, yeah, it's fascinating.
So, in that spirit, this is the first question I want to ask you. I thought about this as the national championship was ending and Indiana is having their moment in the sun and the confetti is falling and Kurt Signetti is getting doused with Gatorade and they are getting this moment that as an Oregon fan I've dreamt of for my entire life, but it has been realistic likely for 25 years. 2001, Oregon should have played the national title game. They would have gotten waxed by Miami. I don't care. They should have been there. So it's been 25 years. In those 25 years, Tyson, Oregon has only had 2 losing seasons. Mm-hmm. Yet and they have been nationally relevant for the majority of them. As good of a 25-year run as any team in all of college football. Indiana over the last 25 years has had 2 good years. Mm-hmm. This year and last year. Mm-hmm. This year ending in the national championship. My thought, and I don't know the answer, is would I give up the last 25 years of relevance, of great moments at Autzen Stadium, of great wins, but yet no trophy to show about it so that those MFers in Seattle can still say the O on your helmet stands for national title, 5,000 uniform combinations, no national title. Like, would that one moment that Indiana had on Monday night be worth? Think about all the games that Indiana had to play over the last 25 years with 10,000 people in the stands at 3 wins and no chance of ever going to a bowl game, right? Is the last 25 years in Indiana better because they just won this one? Or would you rather be Oregon to not win the title but have 25 years of relevance? And I don't know the answer. But I was thinking about this as I had a pretty good buzz going Monday night and as I was watching the game.
That's a fascinating one. I think, basically if you're just completely changing fandoms of you're an Indiana fan versus an Oregon fan, and which means you're also probably a fan of the entire athletic department, I think maybe you'd take the last 25 years at Oregon more because you've had excellent football. And granted, you haven't won that big one. The dog is still chasing the car. But you've had a generational women's basketball era come through. You got a Final Four run with the men's team. Softball's been to a College World Series. Track wins national. Like you have other things that can kind of, you know, like all tides raise the boats, if you will. And whereas at Indiana, you had a bad football program, and I know we do the whole Indiana's more known for basketball, but it's not like they've been old Indiana for the last 25 years too. I think overall, you'd take the Oregon experience, but you also can't answer that question because you don't know, Justin, what it feels like to actually win a national title.
I don't.
You don't know what that joy is like. And I do have to ask you a little bit though, are you at all worried about when Oregon does finally win a title and you've had 25 years of being real close? Are you at all worried about it hitting like it needs to? For instance, I was watching the end of the broadcast and they bring out the podiums and the floats to bring everybody on, and having just been in one of those scenes at the Orange Bowl, those things feel weird. They feel a little weird before the editing process comes and layers music onto it and make it dramatic and makes it seem like a movie. it feels very made for TV-esque sort of thing. So you kind of get there and you're like, okay, this is exciting, but also this is probably just the reporter in me. You get to a thing and you realize that a lot of it is showy. But I'm also not the fan who has been needing Oregon to win for so long.
Yeah.
So is it going to be the best day of your life? Minus when you married.
Clearly, when I married my wife, I don't have children, so I don't have to pretend that was come on. Other than my kids being born, this is the best day of my life. It's you're lying.
Yeah. Well, you also scored 3 goals that day.
So, I hope so.
Yeah.
I'm willing to let it be a disappointment. It doesn't matter.
Do you think Major League Baseball is better now that the Red Sox have won 3 World Series in the last 15 years versus when you had the curse and it was the chase? And it's Red Sox. I don't give a shit about Red Sox Yankees anymore, and that's because
It's interesting because my father-in-law is a lifelong Cubs fan.
Okay.
And it is an interesting reaction after the Cubs won the World Series in 2016. He was like, I don't know what we are anymore.
Right.
Like, we're the lovable losers. We're the ones that everybody liked because, oh, shucks, kind of like the Bills are right now.
Right.
Oh, boy, if there was ever a fan base that deserves it, it's the Bills, which they're next in line, by the way.
Right.
And it was just like, that's not how I thought you would react. Not disappointment, but like, huh. Now that they finally won.
Like, do I get a check or something?
Yeah.
Like how do I get rewarded for my 30 years of service here?
So I'm dying to find out what it's going to feel like.
I think I'm just projecting because circling back around to what we were talking about in the fall with like the Mariners getting kind of close. It's like, yeah, like my identity as a fandom has been of a team that like, maybe like, okay, shucks, we didn't get there.
Yes.
But spring training, 6 months, like.
I've also I think I mentioned it last week. I've just come to the realization that this might be who Oregon is, right? They might be the team. They might be the college version of the Bills, right? They might be the team that gets close every year and should win it, but just don't. And going back to I think I'll take that over a flash in the pan, which I don't think Indiana is going to. Like, I think the rules are now changed, and I don't think Indiana's going to stay a flash in the pan, but for all intents and purposes, they are a flash in the pan. They were nothing. They were a doormat. They were a game on the schedule where you go like, do we go to the Indiana game? I don't know. Maybe we'll stick around till halftime.
Who's their quarterback again?
Yeah, that's who they were for like 50 years, and now they're the national champions.
And the thing with like being an Oregon fan too is, yes, you can probably pencil in one devastatingly bad day a season. Mm-hmm. This year it was 2.
Yep.
But how long was it until all of a sudden Oregon Twitter was back up? It was like 2 days, right? It was Tatum's coming back, Mateo's coming. Like they kind of do that. And this Oregon fan base is so trained to enjoy the off-season part of the season because you have those expectations and you have a coaching staff that is meeting those expectations in terms of what you need to do roster building for the other time of the year. And then for 12 out of 14 games in a year, you usually kick other teams' ass. Like it's not a bad existence.
No, it's a great existence. It's an existence that I think 80% of college football would take.
Yeah.
The problem is we're not hanging out with them. We are at the cool kids table. And all the cool kids are going like, when are you getting your BMW for Christmas?
People love Charles Barkley, you know.
It's true.
Ken Griffey Jr., cleanest player in the Hall of Fame. He only played in like 4 playoff games in his career.
Fair enough.
Actually, it was a little bit more than that.
A little more than 4, but
yeah,
seems like it was just like 4.
Yeah.
It was those 5 against the Yankees. That's all we worry about.
Yeah. Did they win that series?
Well, they certainly did.
Yeah.
I haven't heard about it since.
And
not like they ever bring it up.
It was perfect symmetry with the Mariners making this run like 30 years after the 95 run, so they can celebrate 95 and 2025 together in
the
one
same time. Yeah. Edgar and Dumper in the same place. So that was the first question I had was, because do you take 25 years of relevance with no national title or 23 years of nothingness, irrelevance, and add 2 years and a national title? Which I still think I take the 25 years of being relevant, because Autzen Stadium Saturdays for the last 25 years, which is where I have been, you have been for a lot of them, is awesome. 5 years ago, 6 years ago, home game in Indiana was not awesome. Like, they didn't have John Mellencamp's little I can smoke up on the thing. Shanty or whatever is up on top of the press box. But they'll get there. But I still think I would take the last 25 years. Here, go ahead, finish your thought.
I had a counter question.
I love it.
Would you exchange Oregon having a football baseline of making the playoffs every single year? Mm-hmm. If as part of that exchange it meant the men's basketball team was going to be this?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, I would.
Okay.
I would take the football playoff every single year. I love Oregon basketball. Top tough times right now, but football is where the bread's buttered.
Right.
This was going to be my next question. Indiana, as we talked about last week, I believe is the benefit of kind of a perfect storm of college football is in its weirdest time. Players can move anywhere at any time, unrestricted. You can pay them any amount of money.
You can sue them too.
You can sue them and get them back.
Or Washington, yeah.
You can do a lot. It's a weird time, and then also now, as I think is evidence in the last 2 or 3 national titles, that once you make the SEC play other teams, like they don't get to gatekeep the national title anymore. So it's opened up kind of, I think, more opportunities. And I think we can honestly say without the transfer portal, because that got them a Heisman Trophy quarterback, without NIL, which got them the ability to pay for maybe the best offensive line in all of college football, also NIL, giving Indiana the ability. How many times did we hear about it's the most experienced roster in college football? Well, the reason that it is because they can pay them to stay.
Right.
If they couldn't, those guys would be either headed to the NFL or headed down south where they paid them anyways, but not legally. So it was and you had to have, I believe, this playoff format to be able to kind of open it up. I think about Shohei Ohtani. Shohei Ohtani, I think, is maybe the greatest human being to ever play the game of baseball. My asterisk is because he is allowed to. In the last 50 years of Major League Baseball, there has to be somebody that was as good at pitching and hitting as Shohei Ohtani. They just said, no, you're a pitcher now. You don't hit. So my question is...
I'm sorry. I thought you were going to go with because baseball only allowed white players to play for the longest time, and then it transitioned into the DH rule.
No, I'm just saying. Baseball as well as I do. It's like you are a good pitcher, you don't hit anymore. You get to high school, and it's like you're done hitting, or even in college. Somebody had to be good enough. On
your high school team, I imagine the kid who was the best pitcher could also probably hit the hell out of the ball.
Yes.
Generally, those were the most talented athletes. They could pitch, they could play shortstop, they could hit.
Shout out Kellen Schaefer. He played second base.
Kellen Schaefer
was a very good pitcher.
No free ads, but we'll shout you out.
Yeah. So my point is, if we go back and look, if other things, if NIL had been a thing for 25 years, would there have been another Indiana?
Yes.
I think so, too.
Yeah.
You want to know who I think the closest team is?
Ooh. So a team in the last 25 years or a program?
A program within the last 25 years that was traditionally an absolute doormat, that if there would have been a playoff, could have won the national title. Because I have one in mind.
I got nothing.
I go back to maybe the team I hated the most, which is the 2000 Oregon State team. Oregon State in 2000 lost one game to Washington because they couldn't defend a screen pass and they missed a field goal at the end of the game. They would eventually be Pac-10 co-champions and would beat Notre Dame's ass in the Fiesta Bowl. And that team had Hushmanzada and Chad Johnson / Ocho Cinco and Kenny Simonton and Steven Jackson.
Pretty good coach.
And DeLawrence Grant and a handful of NFL players. A smart quarterback that would go on to be a good coach and then a bad coach. And then and a coach just crazy enough to let it work.
Right.
If 2000 Oregon State ever got into a playoff, they might have been national champions, which would have made that at the time the most impossible story in college football, which is what we're seeing now with Indiana. I think over the last 25 years, if there would have been a playoff and maybe even some NIL, you could have seen teams pull this fast track, get on board, catch lightning in a bottle and win the national title. It just so happens that it was Indiana. Because I think Oregon State in 2000 could have done it.
This is a really stupid question. How long was, or how serious was Dennis Dixon's knee injury? Like was he out for like months?
It was a torn ACL.
Oh, okay. Because I was gonna be like, you get like a 2-month run up to the playoff. Maybe he comes back. It's like, not gonna happen.
No, it was a torn ACL.
Yeah. Are those important?
Apparently, especially if it's your left knee and running left.
Okay.
Because he ran right just fine. Tore his ACL against Arizona State.
He's just got to be like a basketball guard. He can't go left. He has to go right.
Boy, if there's a question I could ask Chip Kelly.
You have 2 quarterbacks on the field at the same time. One goes left, one goes right.
Or if knowing what you know now, because Dennis Dixon tore his ACL against Arizona State, played against Arizona the next week, scored a touchdown, ran it in himself because he went right. Then the next series makes the read.
Goes left,
plants the left knee, buckles, and it's over. But if you know now what you knew then, would you only run right? Because you could maybe pull that off for at least 2 more weeks. No, they're not going to notice that he's only running right until week 3.
They just have a formation where he's lined up under center and all the offensive linemen are on the right side.
Boy, that Chip Kelly really thinking outside of the box.
There's no Oregon teams from that 2000, 2001 era that you think maybe if there was a playoff.
That's a good question.
Because if I remember correctly, and remember, I'm a young man compared to your experience.
Fair enough.
Wasn't there an Oregon team that was pretty kind of pissed off about a way the season ended, and maybe they thought that they should have had a shot at playing against Miami?
Yeah, so 2001, that team should have played against Miami. The thing is, as crazy as it sounds, because Miami had won the year before, I think Oregon State could have beaten that Miami team. I don't think Oregon in 2001 could have beaten 2001 Miami. As nuts as it sounds.
It's a pretty good era for Miami.
17 first-round picks on the roster.
Yeah, no, I mean...
future first-round draft picks on the kickoff team. that's how nuts it was.
By the way, 3 weeks or 2 episodes ago, we were kind of joking about Michael Irvin and being like, don't Google the White House. Mm-hmm. He has a new podcast on Netflix called The White House.
Yeah.
I love that. We're in an era now where it's just just lean into it.
Okay. What's the amount of years when you could go from scandal to where it's funny? Because at the time, is it 20 years? Is 20 years the cutoff?
But the thing with him is, didn't he just get fired from NFL Network 2 or 3 years ago for sexual harassment or allegations of?
I thought it was a confrontation at an airport, but
something of that ilk,
yeah.
Or it's Shannon Sharp's podcast is doing pretty well. After he got fired from ESPN, and it's I don't know. I feel like there's enough pockets of fans for every athlete or whatever at some point that you're almost kind of bulletproof at this point if you're a certain level of fame.
Yeah, I also
like the Gruden thing's another example. Like Gruden's back on the swell up, and it's maybe go read some of those emails he's sent. There's a reason why. Anywho,
one thing like Johnny Manziel, he. At the time, it was a tragic story, and now it's it was just Johnny Football. He was signing autographs for piles of cash, and it's it was a pretty big scandal at the time.
Yeah.
I think it's 20 years is maybe because like you said, Michael Irvin and the White House.
I mean, it was about probably 20 years after Pete Rose was kicked out of baseball that he started leaning into it and doing the. I went to Cooperstown in 2016, saw him in a card shop, and he was just signing, "I'm sorry, I bet on baseball."
Yeah.
$150 for each one. And it's just okay, this is his thing. This is what he can make money off of now. This is what he's known for.
Yeah. It's fascinating.
Yeah.
But no, I'm trying to think of Oregon teams, because it, again, That's never really been Oregon's style of like, boy, what could have been? Because like, other than 2001, which is maybe the closest, after that, 2005, Oregon should have played in the Fiesta Bowl, but the Notre Dame loophole kept them out. But Kellen Clemens had broken his leg against Arizona, and a very young Dennis Dixon and Brady Leaf were limping through the rest of the regular season, which they won. And so it was a 10-1 season.
Were you guys wowed by Kellen Clemens? Because out of all the Oregon quarterbacks pre this era, where we have like 6 dudes in the NFL right now, he had a 10-year NFL career.
Great run.
Yeah.
Kellen Clemens
never gets talked about in the Oregon Pantheon.
It's interesting because 2005, that was the first year Oregon went to the spread. And Kellen Clemens completely changed his entire career, because up until then it was like you saw flashes but there was no consistency. And I love Mike Bellotti, but boy, he could just not make his mind up on quarterbacks sometimes. And so it's like, it's Kellen Clemens, it's Jason Fife, and back and forth. And then finally by 2005, Clemens' senior year, they got this new offense. He's thriving in it. Their only loss was to 2005 USC, which was a pretty good football team. And then the poor kid breaks his leg against Arizona. This always seems to happen at Arizona too. Maybe they got one of those electric substations like San Francisco 49ers have. You haven't heard that one yet?
No. Next week. We'll
break down the conspiracy theory that there's an electric substation near the 49ers practice facility, and that's why they seem to be having more non-contact injuries than everybody else, but neither here nor there. Something about the electrical waves, and it weakens the tendons. Yeah. I don't know if it's true, but that's what the internet told me, and it's never lied to me before. But yeah, 2005, Oregon was good, but USC was unbelievable, and then of course Texas came in and won it all. 2007, Dixon was hurt, so didn't really have a. 2009's interesting. 2009. Nope, never mind. They lost to Ohio State. You know what the one that I wonder about?
12
and 19.
12 to me.
12 and 19, I think they have a chance.
12 to me has last year's Ohio State vibes. Like you were the best team in football for the whole year, and then you botched one.
Yeah.
In that.
12-team playoff happens in 2012. I think Oregon's got a national title. And I think 19 also has a chance.
That 19 team was very good. I actually like Mario Cristobal in big games. That LSU team that year was pretty.
Oh, I forgot about that. Never mind. I take that back. Forgot about that. Never mind. So you're right. I think 12 is the season.
That was the LSU team, right? That was
Joe Burrow.
Joe Burrow, Justin Jefferson.
Chase Daniels. They had a lot of dudes.
Yeah, they had dudes.
But yeah, I think 2012, that Oregon team's got a shot to win the whole thing.
That 2019, that Arizona State loss, which like in retrospect now you go like, okay, Jaden Daniels, Brandon Ayuk, not a bad combo there.
Yeah.
Like you feel better about that one now. Didn't know those guys really at the time.
Was it fourth down? Was it the fourth down or was it like third and long?
Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
I was walking down, doing.
No.
Yeah. Yeah. Was that Diamador who got beat on that one?
I've blacked it out of my mind.
He got a little pushy after the Seahawks. Niners, him and Smith and Jigba.
Oh, I did see that, yes. So, yeah. Now thinking about it, 2011, Oregon had a chance because that 2011 team lost to USC by a field goal at home. That was a LeBron James game. And then they would go on to win the Rose Bowl. Mm-hmm. And I think that team was, I'm trying to think who won the national. So that was I believe the national title was Texas-Bama. And I think that was the game where Colt McCoy got hurt.
That sounds familiar.
So I think Oregon has a chance, but I don't remember exactly who's on that Bama team, but it was probably a bunch of dudes.
I mean, maybe even 2010 if there's a full playoff. Maybe Auburn gets knocked off.
Earlier in the run.
You don't have to play Cam Newton.
Would have been nice. But I do think, yeah, I'm with you on 2012. 2012 was the year.
During the pandemic, I found this website. I forget what it was, but it basically like it would let you simulate results from like college football teams in the past against college football teams. Mm-hmm. So you could do 2012 Oregon versus 2019 Oregon, and it would run like 100 simulations, and it would pop out.
Yeah.
And so because we had no sports to cover, I ran who's the greatest Oregon team of all time, and so I seeded them, and then I had them go up against each other, and I believe I actually had the 2012 team as the first seed. Like I thought they were. And I think they ultimately won the whole thing. But it was another one of my brilliant ideas that then all the other
everybody else
beats that the Athletic did. And
weird.
Yeah.
Weird how that happens.
Yeah. I mean, I like to share, you know. What did I say about tides and boats or some shit like that earlier?
All right, so Dante Moore's coming back.
That's good. That's good. That's good, right?
That is
like
good.
There was no part of you at all that was like, go to the NFL.
No, absolutely not.
Good.
No, I think Dante. I am pro Dante Moore. I have been all season. I don't even put. A lot of people wanted to put that Sugar Bowl on him. I don't. Yeah, he threw a bad pass to open the game. Can't do that,
dude.
That's brutal. But the fumbles.
I'm fine. I'm fine with the fumbles. I just think. I think Oregon was out of the game as soon as he threw that first pass. And I know it was tied after that, but just that, as we saw again on Monday, this Indiana team, you give them an inch and they'll strangle you.
And I think the one...
But that happens too. It's a play. It's a football play. Kicker misses a kick. Like,
and I think that, which is interesting, because like you look at the way Oregon won that Penn State game, you look at the way Oregon won that Iowa game, but yet like there was an immaturity to this year's team. Mm-hmm. And I think that showed it finally in a big way against Indiana, where it's like, boy, just one play just could throw you all out of sorts.
Whether it's a mistake in a play like that, this team throughout the year was constantly penalized more than Lanning would have preferred. Like they were a very disciplined team last year, not so much this year. Again, it's another one of those ones where all those logical reasons that we were explaining at the start of the year of like inexperience, yada yada yada. Then you get to the Final Four and you're like, championship. And so you kind of forget about that a little bit. But it's definitely very true.
So with Dante coming back, here's a question I want to ask you. Has college football done it? With the money that we're hearing, we don't know if it's exactly the truth, but like you hear things like $6 million. It's numbers that are just out there. Has college football...
A cool six.
A cool six. Has college football done it to where, from a quarterback perspective, they can maybe now officially outbid the NFL?
Because I mean, like, you're never going to be able to outbid like a 1-1 scenario.
But I think of like, but so if I'm Dante Moore, right? If I'm Dante Moore, say you're the fifth pick,
right?
You're going to make more money,
right?
Don't get me wrong. Like, I'm not saying outbid in terms of just
you finally have leverage to where you don't have to like sign up to go to the freaking Raiders.
Yeah, you know? That's what I'm saying. What would you rather do if you were a sophomore or junior with the ability to come back and play college football? Would you rather take that $5 million and play 12 regular season games, some playoff games in palatial facilities on campus? There's, if you're a big university, 20,000 people love you.
Well, from a business perspective, that's laying down a further foundation for money you can make later in your career too. Like, I think Dante Moore, if he comes back, they win a national championship next year, he's going to have like 4 car dealerships in Eugene. Welcome to Dante Moore's Kia. You know, like,
boy, there's a lot of Oregon quarterbacks that maybe had that plan. Just could have been Joey Harrington Toyota, could have been Kellen Clemens Ford. I mean, because I think Clemens drives a Ford.
I mean, like, Lillard has his
still out there, in McMinnville.
I'm going to McMinnville on Friday. I'm gonna go to a wrestling tournament at the Air Museum. It's gonna be sick. Spruce Goose, baby. every year Linfield hosts a wrestling meet inside the McMinnville Air Museum. And so like they put the mats underneath like the F-18 that's like above, and they roll.
That is pretty cool.
It's pretty cool. It's pretty cool. It's for my job.
This is like a high school
thing?
thing?
No, it's Linfield.
Well, I thought Linfield was like hosting the high school. So it's NAIA wrestling.
No. Division 3.
Division 3.
Division 3, because as of this year, actually, men's wrestling has always been an NCAA sport, but as of this year, women's wrestling is also an NCAA sport, and they have both men's and women's teams there at Linfield. Maybe you should branch out a little bit and learn a little bit more about the state you love and the sports that you claim.
Fair enough.
Let's
go Wildcats.
Variety in. Is Linfield Wildcats? Okay,
yeah.
Cool. Yeah. Only time I've ever really been out there is there was like 3 years in a row where I went to every year Linfield football throws a big celebration when they clinch a winning season again, and it's been like 60
I remember,
years in a row. I think I wrote the same story 4 years in a row, like same quotes.
I know Linfield football is very proud of that record.
Yeah.
They mention it a lot.
Yeah, they do.
Scott Brocious went to Linfield.
Yeah, he's the athletic director right now.
He is a World Series MVP.
Yeah.
All right. I was asking, like, is it a better overall job, because it's a job now, to be like, you would have to be the quarterback of a bad NFL team, make more money, but a bad NFL team, or come back to school, still be a hero, and be the quarterback of a good college team, making a little less money, but still making enough money to, if you get yourself set up with a real financial plan, like you could be set for life.
Me personally, I would come back to college.
Give me college football all day.
It's you're getting. For years we had announcement from players who declared early, and in the lead graph of their notes, this was a really tough decision.
Yeah.
And maybe if it was, but ultimately the money is what pulls them the other way. Like, this balances the scale quite a bit. And no matter how good any of these prospects are, like, there's got to be a little bit of hesitation from all of them to be like, am I going to have this in the NFL? Am I going to be this player in the NFL? Marcus Mariota's not this player in the NFL. We've seen a lot of guys who are treated like gods where they're currently at, and it's a different playing field there. So if I'm a Dante Moore and I can go make $6 million in Eugene this year and be showered with love and praise and adulation for a whole nother year, and really just kind of pump, like, hell yeah, I'll do that. Like, I'll do it for 5.
Exactly.
Maybe 4 too.
Or I could go, like you said, to the Raiders.
Yeah. And I'm sure Dante Moore is confident in himself, and I'm sure he thinks he's going to be a successful NFL quarterback. But we have no freaking clue how it's going to work out for him with the Raiders. You know? Like, we have a little idea of like how he'll be for the Ducks next year.
Fairly.
Yeah.
You could at least.
He might get a few snaps. Yeah.
Probably guaranteed at least 10 wins. It's those next 4 or 5 those are the tough ones.
Yeah. Yeah. I have a question that's kind of similar to this. I was thinking about this yesterday, because in my predictions that I wrote on Lookout, I said Oregon's going to have a different type of Dan Lanning scare this next year. I believe him when he says he is staying in Eugene and that he's never going to leave for another college job. Mm-hmm. I believe that. I know last year he said he's no longer interested in the NFL thing. I think his quote was, nobody should be coaching the Chiefs other than Andy Reid. Andy Reid and the Chiefs didn't make the playoffs this year. He's in his upper 60s. Like, next year could be a season where, let's say they're not good again. Like, he could either get fired, or let's say they win the playoffs. That might be a pretty good sunset to go right out into, right?
Yeah.
Again, I believe Dan Lanning, and I think Dan Lanning's being earnest. But I also think that if Andy Reid happens to quit, like, Lanning might get a call. And I don't know if he's at that level quite yet, but like he's in that orbit, and they're aware that like that's his kind of like his team where he's from. I would still have to see it to believe it when it comes to somebody saying, I'm not going to go choose to coach Patrick Mahomes. And I don't hold that against Lanning. I just think that that's one of those things that bridge that we'll have to cross. But that made me start to wonder, in this era now where college football has been just further NFLified. You have basically free agency. You have playoffs. You have general managers. It's all about building the program. Do you think that the transition, we're going to see more transition from college football to the NFL because it's a lot similar jobs than they used to be? Because 10 years ago, the best college football coaches were the best program builders because they did that essentially all on their own. Whereas I think we're getting back to an era in college football now where actually like what you do on the field as a coach has a lot bigger effect than maybe it did 10 years ago when you could just win on talent alone.
Yeah.
We saw that this year with Kirk Cignetti. You know, like I think he's the best coach in college football. I don't think there's much of an argument to that right now.
There really isn't, no.
So I wonder if some of like the barriers between college and NFL are beginning to come down a little bit just because it's a little bit more similar than it used to be.
Potentially. I'm going to answer. This is my 3 things that make me feel warm and fuzzy that Dan Lanning will be at Oregon forever.
Right.
So here are the 3. First, I believe him when he talks about his family.
Right.
And going to the NFL creates more of that moving every 2 or 3 years. So I believe him when he talks about finally, here's a home. I want my kids to have their friends. And so that's number 1.
Kids are getting older now, though, Justin.
Once the Lanning boys graduate from whatever high school they ultimately go to, probably Sheldon.
I think Willamette's kind of the trend.
Maybe Willamette, yeah. But like whenever the last Lanning boy graduates, then it's
right, yeah.
Then it's but that's 2-3 more national championships down the road.
Yeah.
Second thing is Lanning, I think, and rightfully so, idolizes Nick Saban. He talks about how much he learned of coaching for those years with Alabama and Saban.
And didn't Saban try to go to the NFL for a little bit? And it didn't quite translate.
Did not quite translate. Won some games, but
who were his quarterbacks?
Okay, so it's funny you mentioned that. Maybe
was it like Gus Frerotte or
maybe one of the biggest what ifs in football history that nobody talks about, but I'm obsessed with what ifs. I'm obsessed with the sports butterfly effect. So Nick Saban goes to Miami. It's pretty much a done deal that they're going to get Drew Brees. Drew Brees was coming off of a shoulder injury in San Diego.
Right.
And so San Diego released him, and I think that's when they drafted Phillip Rivers. I think it's right around that time.
Okay.
So Drew Brees was going to go to Miami to play quarterback, and Nick Saban was going to run the defense, and that was going to be the Dolphins. The Dolphins' medical staff couldn't clear Drew Brees' shoulder.
You think Nick keeps in touch with that?
Boy, I don't think so.
Okay.
So then they ended up making the move and got Dante Culpepper.
Oh my God, I forgot about the Dante.
So instead of having Drew Brees, who
I got to get my roll on.
Exactly. So instead of having Drew Brees, the man who threw for more yards, I believe, than anybody in NFL history, playing quarterback for you, you get Dante Culpepper.
Who looked good when he was throwing to Randy Moss.
Really good when he was throwing to Randy Moss. Did not look so good throwing to anybody else.
Randy Moss, Chris Carter,
So what if the Dolphins clear Drew Brees and Nick Saban gets 4 years of Drew Brees, arguably in his prime, because the shoulder seemed just fine in New Orleans, won a Super Bowl. He never goes to Alabama. The football butterfly effect on one team doctor's decision is insane.
There's no "We Want Bama" slogan.
There's no "We Want Bama." The Saban coaching tree that is affecting Oregon and Miami and Indiana that doesn't exist.
In Bizarro world, it's "We Want Vandy." Like somehow the butterfly effect would have.
So, all that being said, he didn't get Drew Brees. He got Dante Culpepper. He was, I think,
he gets
frustrated with the NFL system of the buck didn't stop with him because I think ownership made some other personnel decisions and he was like, I'm out. And then he took the Bama job. And where he is now regarded as the greatest college football coach of all time, and rightfully so. So I think Lanning probably knows that lesson as well as anybody of be careful what you wish for. And then here's the third thing.
That would be so fun to do a butterfly effect chart of like, let's imagine if Saban never came back.
Yeah.
Like who's the beneficiaries?
Because
like,
Alabama, remember when Nick Saban got the job, Alabama was like a 500 team. They weren't good.
Yeah.
So that's the second reason why I'm not worried about Landon going to the NFL. Third thing is with transfer portal stuff now, one of the best parts of college football was that if a player went to the NFL and he played for 3 different teams, it didn't matter. I'm trying to think of like the best example of a guy who played for a handful of different teams, but no matter what, he's always going to be known as this college's guy. Joey Harrington.
Right.
Joey Harrington played for what? The Falcons, the Dolphins, the Lions. I think maybe there's one other in there. I think maybe he was with the Saints for a year.
Yeah, I was going to say New Orleans.
Played like four or five NFL teams, but it doesn't matter. He's an Oregon Duck.
Mm-hmm.
Marcus has played for a handful of different teams. Doesn't matter. He's an Oregon Duck. Well, the NIL stuff changes. Like, what is Bo Nix? I mean, had his best success as Oregon, but he was a legacy Auburn. Who was Dylan Gabriel? Like, I don't know if you saw the video. Like, Dylan Gabriel like came back, he kind of toured around Oregon's facilities, and it popped up on my Instagram, and.
Like he's still probably meeting people for the first time. He's not coming back to like see.
Like I think went to a basketball game. I don't think he was probably hounded.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like you don't get that ownership as a player really anymore with NIL.
That's funny because there's not a moment. If Marcus ever comes back to anything, you see like 3 days of it on Twitter.
Marcus and Sabrina.
Or if you're at the event, it's the same roar as it was last year, as it was the year before. Like that. Yeah. Like there's staying power.
He is known. He will be forever an Oregon Duck. He is not known forever as a Washington Commander. It's just that's why college was great. And it's changing now. So the reason I bring that up is that I don't know if Lanning is top of mind thinking about this, but you can be known synonymously and treated as such as a person who's known for one program. You built that one program, and that is what you are known for. So those are the 3 reasons why I don't think he's going to go to the NFL.
Yeah, I don't
until Andy Reid steps down.
I didn't say he is either. I'm just saying that's the last check box I need to see is for him to be like, Patrick, you got a great arm. But I got like 4 kids coming in the portal this year. Like,
I mean, how many more years is like Travis Kelce's going to be done?
But this is kind of like the midpoint cutoff era of like Brady's Patriots, where they were really good from like 01 to like 05, and then it was like
then they retooled, and so the second act of Patrick Mahomes.
Then they got like Gronk and Edelman and those guys. Yeah.
It's always like as an Oregon fan, considering what has happened with the last handful of coaches, the last 3 really, you can't ever really get comfortable. But I think I'm as comfortable as I've been since Bellotti.
I mean, he's been here as long as anybody has since longer than anybody has since Bellotti. He's been pretty good. They sell T-shirts with that slogan on it, like.
But he's really good at slogans.
Yeah. Well, so that was my kicker was like, but if he does turn down Kansas City, like, imagine the shirts.
Imagine the shirts.
Well, okay. So like, ultimately, I think this will turn into just another one of those stories where we don't know if he actually turned down Alabama, or we don't know. Like, I do believe Lanning will be able to turn it into a big old positive for however he decides to.
You know how, like, you're a music guy.
Yeah.
You're a music buff, I would say.
I get down with the jams.
And, like, you know how, like, there's songs, like, I unapologetically am a fan of Taylor Swift, right? And I think what Taylor Swift does incredibly well is she writes songs that we all know who it's about, but it's not like... didn't come out and say it, but also doesn't. It was
like us on the podcast last week with Cristobal.
Exactly, but doesn't come out.
The Miami coach.
Yeah, sorry. Like, but doesn't come out and ultimately deny it. Just kind of lets it
Yeah.
Like,
Let's
Lanny's
simmer.
got like a little bit of that. Like, did you put 12 men on the field on purpose? I don't know.
I don't know. Did I?
Did I or did I not? If everybody's going to say I did and I'm a genius, I'm certainly not going to correct them.
Right.
Did you turn down a multi-million-dollar deal at Alabama? I don't know. I don't know if I did. Did I? Did I not?
Define multi.
But if everybody says I did because I love Oregon so much, I'm not going to correct them if that's not it. So just keep doing that.
You know, wouldn't that be cool if I did?
I love it. Keep doing it. Like he's got that knack. I'm not quite sure if it's like just like a God-given ability or what, but he's got that knack of like, well, he can kind of squeeze some lemons and make some pretty good lemonade.
I think ultimately Lanning is just very aware of, for as much as it seems like he doesn't like doing media and stuff like that, he's pretty aware of the news cycle and how the internet works and how not talk, like whether he says yes or no, there's going to be a news story. So I think he's just like, screw it. Like, let's take the positive side of this and run with it.
So now that the national champion has been crowned, like you mentioned, Oregon, like when does like now 2026 buzz start for Oregon, or has it already started?
I think you got like
spring ball.
So like if we're looking at like a line graph, like it was big decline right at the end of the Peach Bowl. Mm-hmm. Probably another day of like cratering down. I think you pulled out of the descent at least with the Dante Moore and stuff.
Yeah,
so like,
yeah.
I think you're back at least at like a neutral feeling. Like people are probably still pissed off, but at least there's not more football to watch now. Like there's like you don't have to watch Mario or you don't have to watch Indiana.
That is true.
And, like getting that out of the way. I think there's going to be 2 to 3 weeks here of just like kind of silence.
Yeah.
You know, just like, okay, like let's marinate on this a bit. Let's watch the basketball teams. Women's hoop's still doing good. Men's team.
Season's over.
I think Justin and I are suiting up for their next game.
Yeah, Shellstad's out for the season. They just got smoke showed by Michigan State last night.
Biddle's out for a month. At this point, might just.
I think we're done.
Yeah.
I think it's tough. Do you even want to play in the NIT? Is that still a thing?
It might be time to break out where's the CBI banner?
Can I tell you, my favorite Dana Altman quote is after they won the CBI.
Yeah.
Which, remember, like, pretty big deal still.
It was like their Red Box Bowl.
Yeah. And
program's coming back a little bit.
And like he's sitting there and it was at home, and so it was in that little media room there at Matthew Knight Arena. But it had like all these zebra. It was CBI presented by Zebra pens.
Oh God!
And so I had like all this like. Usually, like the banner behind him is, it's just like the athletic,
right?
Like the O and then the logo,
whatever. Yeah.
Unless there's a scandal, then it's a black curtain.
They've used that a few times.
They have, but this was like Zebra pens, CBI, and like all the CBI people were there, and. You know, they're excited. They're crowning a champion. And Dana Altman was like, happy that we won. It was a good tournament. I hope we never play in it again. I was like, what a perfect answer.
Yeah.
Great tournament. Thanks for having us. I hope we never play in this again. And they might be playing in it this year.
All right, Justin, we're an hour, 5 minutes into this.
Okay.
What's causing you to lose hair this week?
Okay. I debated back and forth whether I wanted to bring this up, but I'm just going to do it. Okay. I'm going to rip the Band-Aid off. So as of this recording, it is the 21st of January. Mm-hmm. I don't know about you. I think I know the answer. I have chosen for the multiple years in a row now to not participate in Dry January.
Okay.
I'm perfectly happy with my hydration levels in the month of January. I don't know if you've ever tried or attempted Dry January, but apparently Dry January has become such a thing on the internet that like bars are
counter protesting.
Well, they're creating more and more mocktails,
like NA drinks. Yeah, correct.
Now, if you have
I know where you're going with
if
this.
you have a problem with alcohol, and you have chosen sobriety, I support your fight, and I support your your sobriety journey every single day. If you are someone that is just doing dry January because you wanted to put stuff on Instagram, this is for you. Mocktails are bullshit. Mocktails are bullshit. What are we doing? Like, just if you have chosen to do dry January, but you still want to go out with your friends who decided they still want to have fun in January, sit there and drink a Diet Coke like the rest of us. Like, what?
You don't get to call a Shirley Temple a mocktail.
No, it's a Shirley Temple.
It's Sprite with grenadine.
And by the way, delightful.
Yeah, it's lovely.
But like, I see these like, this is my. I think I saw something there. Like somebody created an old-fashioned mocktail, which like, I don't even know how you do that. But it's just it's juice combinations with sparkling water, and you're paying $9 for it, if not more.
See, that's
just drink a Diet Coke.
That's the thing that gets me the most is I appreciate bars that have a larger non-alcoholic menu. Just have some friends who are sober. Like, it's nice for them to come to a place and like just be able to have options to choose from.
Sure.
What drives me batty though is a lot of the places you go to, the mocktails are more expensive than the cocktails.
That's what I'm saying.
And it's like one of these things is missing an engine. Like it's you're selling me two cars here. This one has a motor, this one doesn't, and you're telling me the one without the motor costs more?
Now I'm lucky enough to where I don't have to worry about this, but I do have friends who have gone through AA, and yeah, to go to a sports bar and to order an NA beer feels like it's a good option to have. All I'm saying is, Tyson, after beers, what other NA options do we need? I'm saying none, because is there a mocktail that is as good as a Dr. Pepper? The answer's no. It's not. Is there a mocktail that's better than a cherry Coke?
Well,
there's not.
I was going to say, like, it'd be really cool if they could make like a NA rum and Coke. Yeah, it's Coke. Like,
it's just Coke with a little lime, maybe. It's delicious. Yeah. So what are we doing with the mocktails? Look, if you've chosen to not drink in January, you don't get cocktails. They're not for you. You get water, coffee, and if you want, maybe some soda. But like, you don't get cocktails. Don't even get me started on like
doing dry January, and that person has like 6 Zins in their mouth.
All I'm saying is that you're not fooling anybody. If you have chosen to go dry January, just get a club soda and call it a day, because like, these mocktails are I don't know why I'm personally offended, because I will never order one ever in my life. I will either have a drink, or if I don't want a drink, I will order a Diet Coke. And I'm fine with that, because after drink, to me, the next best option is not non-alcoholic version of said drink. The next best option is cherry Coke or Dr. Pepper or a coffee.
Like, there's a lot of options.
So many options. So, yeah. But I choose to be personally offended by mocktails as if it is a slap in my face. I know it's not.
Angry January for Justin.
I mean, maybe it's because it just keeps popping up on the Instagram of like, oh, look at these great mocktails. What do we do? Why?
I just know, I know too many bar owners who get really screwed by dry January. It's like, okay, this is one of the slower times of the year anyways, and now everyone's being like, we're not coming in. I think yeah.
And I'm doing my best to keep the bar business afloat.
You're doing your part.
Trust me.
I went to Wendy's today, and like, my order was $7.20, and they're like, you want to round up 80 cents for adoption? And I was like, who are we adopting? Sure. Like, why not? They should just do that for the bars in January. Do you want to round up?
Or like when they do like vegetarian, like fried chicken, like, look, if you're vegetarian,
we have a cart next door. It's called No Clucks. Their whole thing is fake fried chicken. They need to respect, because like most restaurants have their 9 regular options and then they have a vegan option. The vegan places need to have 9 vegan options and have one
Just
one regular chicken sandwich for me.
Could you imagine?
I'll take the number 10. Is anyone going to make fun of me? Like,
I remember when I was a kid, there was a Chinese food place in Roseburg, and it was like it was great. It was the perfect like American version of Chinese food that I think you and I probably love. Like, give me the marfar chicken with the sweet and sour sauce and all that. But then there was always like hamburger. Like, there's just one, like, because
it's always like
there's always going to be that kid that thinks
the
it's
kids
weird.
menu, like a hamburger or a corn dog, maybe.
Here's a hamburger. So at the vegan food place, just give me one hamburger.
Or maybe like
the poor cook back there who's like, he's in tears.
He's got one chicken in a cage, just tears.
Oh no. So that being said, if you are participating in Dry January, that's fine. Good for you. I'm just get a Diet Coke.
Yeah, you're almost done with it.
Yeah,
and Diet Coke never goes bad.
This is the best. Yeah. It's so good.
I got nothing else. Do you have anything else?
No, I think we have really done it.
Yeah,
I think these last 5 minutes, really set us apart.
I do too.
From the other podcasts out there.
Well, thanks for listening.
I didn't know Justin was anti-Dry January.
He's anti-Dry January. We'll be back next week. Thanks for listening.